Surface tension. Definition. The tension of the surface film of a liquid caused by the attraction of the particles in the surface layer by the bulk of the liquid, which tends to minimize surface area. Cohesion or cohesive attraction or cohesive force is the action or property of like molecules sticking together. And the cohesive forces between liquid molecules are responsible for surface tension. When we consider a molecule present in the bulk of the liquid, that molecule is surrounded by a number of molecules and it experiences a force of attraction in all directions, and the resultant force will be zero. When we consider a molecule present in the surface, there will be an greater inward force, and in order to balance this inward force, the liquid compresses itself, that is, it shrinks into lowest possible surface area. This is the reason for surface tension. Surface tension is typically measured in dynes per centimeter. The force in dynes required to break a film of length 1 centimeter. Surface tension in everyday life. You may have noticed water molecule on lotus leaves or on some waxed automobiles. This is known as beading. Water adheres weakly to wax and strongly to itself, so water clusters in drops. Surface tension gives them their near spherical shape because a sphere has the smallest possible surface area to volume ratio. Formation of drops. When a mass of liquid is stretched, it forms spheres because sphere has the smallest surface area per volume ratio. Soap bubbles. Soap bubbles have very large surface areas for very small masses. Bubbles cannot be formed from pure water because water has very high surface tension, but the use of surfactants can reduce the surface tension more than tenfold, making it very easy to increase its surface area. Small insects such as the water strider can walk on water because their weight is not enough to penetrate the surface. If carefully placed on the surface, a small needle can be made to float on the surface of water even though it is several times as dense as water. Clinical test for jaundice. How surface tension helps to find whether the patient has jaundice or not. Let's see. Normal urine has a surface tension of about 66 dynes per centimeter. But if a person has jaundice, the urine will contain bile, that is the liver fluid. So if the bile is present, the surface tension of urine drops to 55 dynes per centimeter. In the hair test, powdered sulfur is sprinkled on the urine surface. It will float on normal urine but sink if the surface tension is lowered by the bile. Soaps and detergents. They help cleaning of clothes by lowering the surface tension of the water so that it more readily soaks into pores and soiled areas. Surface tension disinfectants. Disinfectants are usually solutions of low surface tension. This allows them to spread out on the cell walls of bacteria and disrupt them. Washing with hot water. The major reason for using hot water for washing is that its surface tension is lower and it is a better wetting agent. But if the detergent lowers the surface tension, the heating may be unnecessary. Capillary action. Sometimes capillarity, capillary motion, capillary effect or wicking. It is the ability of a liquid to flow in narrow spaces without the assistance of or even in opposition to external forces like gravity. It occurs because water molecules bond each other strongly due to forces of cohesion and adhesion where water molecules are attracted and stick to other substances such as glass or paper. Adhesion of water to surface of a material will cause an upward force on the liquid. The surface tension acts to hold the surface intact. The adhesion to the surface material is stronger than the cohesive forces between the water molecules. The height to which capillary action will take water is limited by surface tension and gravity. Capillary action in everyday life. Drawing of ink to the nib from the bottom of a fountain pen. Blotting paper used to absorb spilled liquid. Sponges and brushes used to absorb soap water to clean the vessels. Lighting candles, lamps, lanterns. Moving of water molecules inside the soil absorbed into the roots of the plant flows through the xylem. Mercury rises in a thermometer to show temperature. Chromatography process. Capillary action in human body. Absorption of sweat from skin by fabrics. Baby suckling milk from the mother's breast. Tearing of ice. Movement of water in and out of our cellular structure that deposits vitamins, nutrients, and vital blood plasma. Intestinal villi aid in absorption of nutrients into bloodstream. Gaseous exchange between alveoli and capillaries in the respiratory membrane in lungs. Interfacial tension. Interfacial tension is somewhat similar to surface tension in that cohesive forces are also involved. But the main forces involved in interfacial tension are adhesive forces. It acts between the liquid phase of one substance and either a solid, liquid or gas phase of another substance. The interaction occurs at the surface of the substances involved, that is, at their interfaces. Emulsification. If two immiscible liquids are in contact with each other, they will tend to maintain as small an interface as possible. It is very difficult to mix the two liquids. When they are shaken together, spherical droplets will form. When a surface active ingredient is added, its molecules will tend to be oriented between the two phases, with the polar end in the polar phase and the nonpolar end in the nonpolar phase, which will lower interfacial tension. This will result in miscibility of the two liquids. interfacial tension and surface tension. Adhesive forces between molecules at the surface and air molecules is negligible when compared to the adhesive forces between two liquids. The inward pull will be opposed by the adhesive forces to an extent in the case of an interface. This is negligible in case of surface. So net inward pull will be more in magnitude in the case of surface. So the counterbalancing force also will be high in the case of surface when compared to interface.